Hello and welcome once again to the Waters and Stanton video channel. My name's Peter Waters and my call sign is Golf 3 Oscar Juliet Victor. We run an occasional series on this channel about historic antennas, and this is just such a video covering an antenna which has been around for a long time but is not perhaps that well known, particularly in the HF bands. I'm sure many of you have got situation where you think, I'd love to have a Yagi in the garden, get some gain, perhaps a 2 or 3 element Yagi, but you can't for many reasons. Maybe you just can't put up a tower, the garden is not suitable for that, or you've got restrictions, or you just can't afford it. But nevertheless, it would be nice to have a bit of gain. And I found an antenna which I've been aware of its existence, but I had, I suppose, forgotten about it. And I came across an old copy of a 73 magazine, which is an American magazine. I never actually got it on a regular basis, but I found a copy of it. And in this magazine, it had an article about an antenna for 20 metres with some useful gain. Now, let me explain. If you have a 2 element Yagi, you're going to get a forward gain of at best 4 dB over a dipole. Generally speaking, it'll be a bit less than that. If it's a commercial antenna, it'll probably be a driven element and a reflector, and you'll probably more likely get around about 3.5 dB gain. 4 dB is the maximum you can get, but of course you do get front to back ratio. Now, 4 dB doesn't sound that much, and yet I'm sure that if you've been on the air and you've heard stations with Yagis, they've got big signals, and you think, gracious me, that Yagi must have a really good performance. Well, I think you have to bear in mind that there is another aspect of a Yagi that perhaps is overlooked, and that is the fact that most people that have got a Yagi will have it on a tower or a tall mast, and it'll be 50 or 60 feet above the ground. That's way much higher than your typical dipole. So when you hear these big signals from Yagis, or people saying they've got good results from a Yagi, yes, they do benefit from the forward gain, but they also benefit quite a bit from the fact that the antenna is so much higher. And as we raise an antenna above the ground, a horizontal antenna above the ground, so we tend to lower the angle of radiation. That means to say that it's better for DX, and of course it just sees more sky. So a Yagi will almost certainly be better than your horizontal dipole, and it won't be just 4 dB, it'll probably be something like 1.5, 2s points, because it is so much higher. Now, the antenna I'm going to introduce you to is a collinear. It's a 3 element collinear. Now, these 3 elements are in linear mode. In other words, it's a horizontal wire which is divided into 3 sections, and I'll put up on the screen now the basic concept of this collinear that was described in the 73 magazine. It has a gain of approximately or just under 3 dB of gain, and that's in both directions, broadside to the antenna. So although you don't benefit from the directivity, or the front to back ratio rather, of a Yagi, you do have this gain in 2 directions. So if that antenna was running north-south, you'd have quite good performance towards America and towards Europe and Eastern Europe and beyond. So this antenna could give you some useful gain in your back garden. Now, if we look at the design of this antenna, you'll see that the antenna has a couple of phase-in sections in it. These phase-in sections, or phase-in stubs, are 1/4 wave long, and you'll see on the screen the measurements. Now, the measurements given are actually quite surprising for American magazine, are actually in meters, so you can calculate the length of each half-wave section by using the formula on the screen, and you can also calculate the length of the stubs. Now, those stubs are actually a balanced line, or 450 ohm ladder line. There is a section in the description where he refers to the fact that these could be used or could be replaced by using coax cable. Now if you use coax cable for the stubs, you do have a bit of an advantage because the coax cable has a velocity factor of, let's say, approximately 0.66, which is the common velocity factor for coax cable. That means to say that it'll be a lot shorter than the sort of 450 ohm ladder line stubs. So if I was constructing this antenna, I think I'd think about having coax stubs rather than 450 ohm ladder line stubs. And these stubs need to be a quarter wave length long. If you're going to use coax cable, then you just use a velocity factor of 0.66, and those stubs are shorted at the end. The bit hanging down is shorted at the end. Now, interestingly enough, with stubs, you can actually roll them up into a sort of a coil. You mustn't roll them tightly up, but you can roll them up loosely so that they have perhaps a diameter of 6 or 7 inches, and that means to say that it hasn't got to be hanging down towards the ground. Those stubs are designed to give a 180-degree phase shift, which means to say that the 3 sections of the antenna are radiating in phase, and together they form this slightly narrower beam width, which gives you the gain in both directions. Now, the dimensions shown on the screen are for an antenna covering the 20 meter band, 14 megahertz. You can, of course, change the dimensions if you want to use it for another band. And in fact, if you constructed one for 10 meters, it would be, around about 50 foot long. So, not too long at all. If you have the full dimensions for the 20 metre one, it's going to be around about 100 foot long, so you need a fairly longish garden. But, as I say, you could actually build it for one of the higher bands. Now, the feed impedance at the centre of this antenna is going to be around about 125 ohms, which quite clearly is not really suitable for direct connection with 50 ohms. And they suggest that use a 4-to-1 Balun. 4-to-1 Balun will take the impedance to something a bit less than 50 ohms, but at least it'll be a bit closer. So if you construct this antenna and you feed it with coax cable, you need to put a 4-to-1 Balun at the feed point. However, you can actually do away with the Balun and use 450 ohm ladder line all the way back to the operating room, the shack. If you do that, then you don't have the matching problem, but also you have the benefit of being able to use the antenna on other bands, the higher bands. Now, as soon as you move away from 20 meters, say to 80 megahertz, the 17 meter band, you will lose the gain that you otherwise got on 20 meters. That's a fact of life, because it is basically, the gain is only realised on one band. But it will still work on the higher bands, and if you use 450 ohm ladder line, you have an antenna that covers all bands from 20 meters up to 10 meters. It means to say that you can have some useful gain on one of our most popular DX bands, the 20 meter band, and at the same time have some useful performance on the other bands. Will it work on the lower bands? Well, you can probably get it to work on 30 meters, but after that I think it probably won't work terribly well at all. But it is a way of getting some useful gain, and of course you get this gain in both directions, gain similar to a 2-element Yagi. So it's quite an interesting antenna. Ponder it, have a thought, and see if it might fit into your garden. In actual fact, the article actually mentions using it as an inverted V. I'm not quite sure about that. They don't give any details of how it performed, but yes, it's possible you could actually construct it as an inverted V. There we are. It's an antenna that is very popular on the VHF bands. We see collinears used a lot on the VHF bands. They're usually encapsulated in a fiberglass pole, but nevertheless they work on the same principle. This 3-element collinear for the HF bands could be an interesting way of getting some useful gain, and it doesn't cost too much to put it together. And do remember that those 2 quarter wave stubs if you make them from coax cable, they can be coiled up, so it won't look too ugly. You don't have to have them hanging down as they show in the diagram. There we are, another interesting antenna for you to ponder. Thanks for your support on this channel. Thanks for also your support on our website and at the shop and so forth. Don't forget, we've got some great deals. We've got some bundled deals. Go into our website and key in the word bundle and you'll see all the bundled deals. We've got all sorts of goodies on our website, and you'll be most welcome at our shop in Milton Keynes. In the meantime, you enjoy your ham radio, take care. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.